1. Soul travels to another world. On the Douluo Continent in the southwest of the Heaven Do Empire lay Fasinuo Province. Wang family village near Nuoding City was as ordinary as any village could be. Its fields fed Nuoding City, and that was about the only source of income. Farmland spread out in every direction, and among the rows of crops a half-grown child stood with a hoe, deftly pulling weeds. If grain was to thrive, weeding and catching pests were essential. His name was Wang Li, 6 years old. He'd been given the simple name Li because he was born so large his mother died in childbirth. He survived, but was left without parents. A few years ago, wild boars from the back mountain had come down and wrecked the crops. The villagers went to drive them off, but those thick-skinned boars were too dangerous. There were many casualties, his father among them. Now Wang Li was truly alone. Despite being only 6, Wang Li already had 3 years' experience working in the fields. His hard work and the occasional help of the village chief and neighbors had kept him from breaking down. If anything, he was sturdier than most children his age. He had a 10-year-old's build, wheat-colored skin, regular features, thick brows, and large eyes. He might not have stood out in the city, but in the countryside, a frame like his promised he would grow into a handsome, capable young man. By noon, the sun scorched everything. Even adults sought shade. Wang Li packed up his tools and walked quickly toward his house at the west end of the village. An old man was sitting on the doorstep. Seeing him, Wang Li smiled and called out, "Grandpa Village Chief, what brings you here?" The old man was Wang Ping, the village chief, fair in his dealings and fond of Wang Li. Although none of them were blood family, many villagers shared the surname Wang. Giving a distant kinship, Wang Ping had taken care of the orphaned boy. He looked at Wang Li with a kindly, satisfied gaze. Wang Ping motioned for Wang Li to set down his hoe. "Little Li, you've worked hard. Don't go to the fields tomorrow," he said. "A Lord Spirit Master from the Spirit Hall is coming to perform spirit awakenings for the children who have reached 6. If you awaken a powerful spirit and become a Spirit Master, you won't have to farm so hard." On the Douluo Continent, most occupations were humble. Only Spirit Masters were truly prominent. Hearing this, Wang Li smiled. "I understand, Grandpa Village Chief. It's gracious of the Spirit Hall to send a Lord Spirit Master even to a small village like ours." Wang Ping nodded. "Come to the Spirit Hall in the center of the village early. We can't keep the Lord Spirit Master waiting. You don't have parents, but you're the one I trust most. I believe you'll awaken a strong spirit." Wang Li's eyes shone. "Thank you. Maybe I really can awaken a powerful spirit." Wang Ping chuckled softly. As village chief, he'd seen many children awaken spirits, and few ever turned out powerful. Still, he allowed himself a hopeful expression. "If our village does produce a powerful spirit master, that will be a blessing. I must be off. I have to visit the next house." "Goodbye, Grandpa," Wang Li called, and watched the village chief's figure until it was out of sight. Excitement fluttered through him. The spirit awakening was about to begin. What kind of spirit would mark the beginning of his path? Wang Li's confidence had a secret source. He came from another world. In his previous life, the Douluo Continent had been nothing but a book to him, one he knew intimately. He'd experienced his own awakening at age 3. Memories from before that were hazy, but fragments of his past life surfaced continually. He guessed his mind had sealed those old memories until his body was mature enough to accept them. After all, few people reliably remember life before age 3. The brain often keeps those memories indistinct until later. After his awakening, Wang Li, who had been a worker in his previous life, had noticed the way villagers treated him change. Being sensible and hard-working mattered more than talent. People helped in emergencies, not out of charity for poverty. By working without complaint, he wouldn't become a burden. Neighbors would be willing to lend a hand. When everyone was poor, no one wanted to take on an extra mouth to feed. So he kept going out to the fields. A new world was about to open to him, and he felt a warm, buoyant anticipation as he pushed open his door and stepped inside. In the kitchen, he lifted the pot lid, half a pot of cold white porridge. He ladled out a bowl, added pickles, and sat behind the stove to eat heartily. That was his usual fare. He longed for meat, but it was beyond his means. The porridge provided carbohydrates, the pickles salt, and the steady labor in the fields had given him a solid, healthy body, something he liked and suspected could only help him with the upcoming spirit awakening, even if he wasn't sure whether his sturdiness had anything to do with the awakening or the memories from his previous life. Either way, being strong was better than being frail. Chapter 2: Martial Spirit Awakening. Before dawn the next morning, Wang Li woke, cooked a pot of plain white porridge, ate a little, and went out. He didn't want to miss anything. He had been looking forward to the spirit awakening. Douluo Continent was a land of gods and demons, hidden weapons that could kill deities, and a spirit and ring system like an online game. Everything about it was entertaining. The kind of spirit someone awakened was the main attraction. Wang Li hurried to the spirit hall at the center of the village. It was really just a slightly better wooden house, unused most days, but kept in decent repair by the village chief. On Spirit Awakening Day, parents brought children of the right age to wait for the spirit hall's master to perform the ceremony. Several children and their families had already gathered when Wang Li arrived. He put on his usual honest smile and stood among them. Soon the village chief, Wang Ping, appeared. He counted heads to make sure every eligible child was present, then, stern-faced, addressed the gathered villagers. "Everyone's here. Don't run off. The spirit master from the hall could arrive at any moment. If you miss the awakening through your own fault, you'll have to accept the consequences." The crowd nodded. For many of them, this could be a once-in-a-lifetime chance to change their fate. They waited for an hour, and at last the spirit master arrived. He strode up from a distance in a white, form-fitting suit and a black cloak. The character for spirit was on his chest, and 3 small swords were embroidered over his left breast. He was tall and handsome, though his expression was somewhat dour. Village Chief Wang Ping greeted him with a bow, all respect. "Spirit Master, thank you for coming. All the eligible children are here." The Spirit Master nodded in acknowledgement, then softened as he looked at the children. "All right, children, go inside and wait for me. I have to visit other villages today, so I won't delay." 6 children, including Wang Li, filed into the house. The Spirit Master followed and mentally hoped to find a talented child among them. Inside, he took 6 peculiar black stones from his bag and arranged them on the floor in a star pattern. He introduced himself in a gentle tone. "My name is Suyun Tao, a 2-ring battle spirit master from the Spirit Hall. I'll activate my spirit and then awaken yours. No matter what you see, don't be afraid." At the sound of the name Suyun Tao, Wang Li's eyes lit up. This was the spirit master he had read about, someone reliable. He thought to himself, "I will definitely awaken a good spirit with spirit power." "Lone wolf, possess," he wanted to shout inwardly. A deep roar suddenly brought everyone back to attention. A surge of green air coalesced around Suyun Tao, and his body began to change. His hair darkened to a grayish-brown and coarse fur sprouted on his face and forearms. His teeth sharpened and his nails lengthened, his features shifting from human to lupine. Yet the Spirit Hall uniform bore no rips. The tailoring was excellent. 2 halos, one white, one yellow, glowed around him. The children panicked at the sight. Suyun Tao, feeling a headache coming on, hurried to calm them. "Don't be afraid. This is normal. If any of you awaken a beast spirit, you'll undergo similar changes. Now, who wants to be awakened first? Stand in the center of the formation." Others hesitated, but Wang Li couldn't wait. He took a few quick steps into the center and said eagerly, "Master Suyun Tao, please awaken my spirit." Seeing someone volunteer, Suyo decided to use Wang Li as the example. He extended a wolf-like paw, released spirit power, and instructed, "Feel the changes in your body carefully." Wang Li felt a warm current flow through him, as if he were immersing in hot water. Heat circulated inward, concentrating in his palm. Suddenly, white light burst forth, and to everyone's shock, a plant sprang up out of nowhere from his hand. Suyun Tao stared, dumbfounded. After a long moment, he managed, half amused, half exasperated, "Is that blue silvergrass? It's thicker and taller than usual, but it is blue silvergrass. A mutation, perhaps." He fished a transparent crystal orb from his bag and held it out to Wang Li. "Control your spirit back into yourself, then place your hand on this crystal. I'll see if you have spirit power." Wang Li nodded and did as asked. With a thought, the plant withdrew and vanished back into his body. He laid his hand on the crystal. The orb pulled the warm current from him and glowed, not dazzlingly, but brilliantly enough to surprise Suyuntao. He stared at it, speechless for a beat, then let out an exasperated laugh. Blue-silver grass can have spirit power too, and your spirit power is level 3. I only had level 2 at that age. Wang Li heard him clearly and was stunned. He understood now. Wang Li, spirit power stage 3, but his martial spirit was blue-silver grass. On paper, that was the standard waste template. But level 3 wasn't bad in Douluo Continent. It was above average and offered a real chance to break through to higher levels, perhaps even reaching the heights of a spirit elder someday. 3. Blue-silver grass, evolving. Suyuntao looked at Wang Li with a pitying expression. He sighed, shook his head, and finally said, 3 ranks of 12, with that kind of talent, why is the spirit a blue-silver grass? A spirit like that has no offense and no defense. If it were a hammer or an axe, he'd have the makings of an excellent spirit master. After his lament, he fell back into duty. Child, what is your name? Wang Li. Wang Li answered at once. Suyuntao produced paper and pen and wrote quickly, filling out a spirit hall certificate. Wang Family Village, Wang Li. When he reached the spirit entry, he hesitated at the image of a thicker, straighter blue-silver grass, and almost on instinct, wrote the 5 characters for mutated blue-silver grass, finally adding 3 ranks of 12. He handed the completed certificate, stamped with the Spirit Hall seal, to Wang Li. Child, take this and wait over there, he said. Wang Li took the certificate and stepped out of the formation, moving to the side, still dazed. Suyuntao gave him another glance of pity. In his view, Wang Li wouldn't be able to accept the contradiction right away. 3 ranks of 12, yet a useless blue-silver grass spirit. He shook his head and called, Next. Unseen by Suyuntao, a panel had appeared before Wang Li the moment his memories surfaced on the day of his awakening. The parts that had been dormant had finally opened today. Blue-silver grass LV2. 3 ranks of 54% plus. Trait, Vitality LV2, blue-silver grass, found in every corner of the Douluo Continent. Though weak, it possesses strong vitality and can slowly recover from damage. Passive, Resilience LV2, what does not kill makes you stronger. When suffering any abnormal status that does not cause immediate death, the physique will strengthen after recovery. Spirit Bone. Seeing the panel answered several of the questions that had been nagging at him. My spirit is still blue-silver grass, but it isn't a mutated one. It's evolving. Did it evolve because I transmigrated or because of this panel? Either way, it's good. It's only level 2, and it's already given me 3 ranks of 12. If it reached max level, I'd probably skyrocket. Wang Li felt a surge of excitement. 3 ranks at 54% with a plus sign. Does that mean my 12 is 3.5 ranks? And the plus means it can be increased directly? Experience points can add to the 12? That would solve the cultivation problem. How convenient. Vitality and resilience, these fit a plant spirit perfectly, and their levels are tied to the spirit's rank, meaning traits and passives depend on spirit quality. He felt a pang of regret that even an evolved blue-silver grass was still a low-grade spirit. If he'd drawn a top-tier spirit, it would have far stronger traits and passives. But for an orphan like him, a common blue-silver grass might be the better match. It improved his chances of surviving the road to becoming a spirit master. Only by living longer could he go further. As for 13 Ez and Spirit Bones, those weren't urgent. He'd only get his first 13 after reaching rank 10. Wang Li arranged the facts in his head. First, he had a cheat. With experience points, he could directly boost his 12. Second, his spirit had begun evolving, but experience wouldn't directly level up the spirit, so he needed to figure out how to gain experience and how the spirit's evolution worked. Once he sorted that, he felt clearer about the future. The Douluo Continent would be dangerous, but if he grew strong, he could explore it with far fewer worries. Meanwhile, Suyuntao continued awakening the other children's spirits. As expected, the rest were farm tools or ordinary blue-silver grass, none with 12. The only child with 12 was Wang Li, and his spirit was a blue-silver grass. A useless spirit was a useless spirit. Suyuntao left with his hopes deflated. This trip had been wasted. He dispelled the possession, returned to human form, and looked tired. He packed his satchel, pushed open the door, and stepped outside. Outside, village chief Wang Ping and a cluster of anxious parents waited and watched him closely. Wang Ping stepped forward, respectful but eager. "Spirit Master, what are the children's talents like in our village?" Su Yuntao looked back, then at Wang Li, and sighed. "There's one child with decent talent, 3 ranks of 12. He can cultivate in the future." Wang Ping started to rejoice, but Su Yuntao's next words shut him down. "But his spirit is only a blue-silver grass. Even with 12, it's still just a blue-silver grass. That kind of spirit won't make a powerful spirit master." He shook his head and walked away, pressed for time to reach the next village. Wang Ping's face fell. This time was different from previous visits. They'd finally found a talented child, only to have the hope ripped away by the spirit. He let out a long sigh. Powerful spirits were rare among ordinary villagers like them. "Which child has 12? He asked weakly. Wang Li stepped forward. "Village Chief Grandpa, it's me." Wang Ping blinked in surprise. "Little Li." Then, as if making a decision, he said, "Little Li, tell Grandpa, do you want to become a spirit master?" Wang Li's reply was resolute. "Yes." Wang Ping's relief showed in his smile. "Good. I'll see about securing a shared work-study spot with the nearby villages. In 3 months, I'll send you to Notting Junior Soul Master Academy in the city. Little Li, study hard there. If you become a spirit master, our whole village will benefit." In this world, spirit masters were adults and nobles. Once someone from the village became a spirit master, tax collectors would think twice before harassing them. A powerful spirit master could even win the village a tax exemption. Wang Li's eyes lit up at the name Notting Junior Soul Master Academy. He needed a 4 book to learn culture and spirit knowledge. Otherwise, he wouldn't even recognize basic characters, let alone know how to handle spirit beasts. That would never do. 4. Notting Academy. After shaking off a crowd of eager villagers, Wang Li finally returned home. This had only been the spirit awakening. He hadn't even obtained a spirit ring yet. He let out a long breath. Though it wasn't everything, his life had already changed. He was now an orphan everyone in the village looked up to. He put the thought aside, picked up his weeding tools, and went back out to the fields. Even with the spirit awakened, the crops still had to be tended. He walked the rows with a thoughtful look, muttering to himself, 3 months left. Once I get into Notting Academy, I probably won't have to farm anymore. Work-study students don't pay tuition, but I still need money for food. I'll sell this year's harvest after taxes, rent out the family fields where I can, and sell whatever else I can spare. Once I officially become a spirit master, I'll be eligible for a subsidy from Spirit Hall. That ought to be enough to get me out of this tight spot. 3 months will pass before I know it. Wang Li counted the money he had saved, mostly bronze coins, with a few silver ones mixed in. After tallying, he muttered, 25 silver and 234 bronze. That converts to 27 silver and 34 bronze. In the currency of the Douluo world, 1 gold equals 100 silver, or 10,000 bronze. He sold the grain and, with village chief Wang Ping overseeing the deal, rented out the family fields to other villagers at a low price. He would have liked to charge more, but that would have driven renters away given the village's economy. It wasn't much, but it guaranteed a steady income, and Wang Li felt content. A voice called from outside. "Little Li, are you home?" Wang Li put away 2 pouches, one large, one small, and hurried to the door. He found Wang Ping and a group of villagers gathered at the gate. "Grandpa Village Chief, and all of you, why have you come? Please, come in and sit. I'll get some water," he said. Wang Ping, knowing Wang Li's house couldn't hold everyone, stayed outside and smiled. "Little Li, we won't go in. You're headed to the city with me tomorrow. You must have a lot to pack. Make sure you bring everything. Once you enter Notting Academy, common folks like us won't be able to visit." He reached into a pouch, took out a small bundle, and handed it to Wang Li solemnly. "The city isn't like the countryside. Once you go, you may not be back for half a year or more. Take this. It's everyone's goodwill. Study hard and cultivate well. You must become a spirit master." Wang Li received the pouch like a treasure. He didn't know how much was inside, but seeing the hopeful faces around him, he thanked them warmly. "Thank you, Grandpa Village Chief. Thank you, uncles and aunts. I will become a powerful spirit master. It felt like a student from a remote village finally getting into a city university, carrying the hopes of an entire community. Wang Li accepted their kindness without hesitation. He intended to repay them when he was strong enough. Overcome with pride, Wang Ping kept repeating, "Good child, good child." The villagers had also brought dry rations and fruit, and Wang Li accepted those with a smile. After seeing them off, he closed the gate and set the food aside. Then he opened the pouch Wang Ping had given him and counted carefully. 30 silver coins. His eyes lit up. Not only would he be able to eat his fill at the academy, he could even afford a better meal now and then, maybe a chicken leg. He put the money away and began to prepare for the trip. 2 sets of clothes, shoes, socks, bedding, dry rations, everything a student leaving home might need. Before dawn the next day, Wang Li rose. He didn't cook a full meal, but he boiled water and filled his stomach with dry rations. Slinging his large and small bags over his shoulders, he stepped out, looked back at the small house he'd lived in for 6 years, and then shut the door, determined to start his life as a spirit master. Spirits, spirit rings, spirit bones. Douluo Continent. Here I come. At the village entrance, Wang Ping and his eldest son, Wang Shun, were waiting beside an ox cart. Wang Li hurried over. Grandpa Village Chief, Uncle Wang Shun. Wang Ping's old face broke into a smile. Little Li's here. Get on the cart quickly. We should leave early so you don't miss enrollment. Wang Shun, tall and broad, helped load the luggage onto the cart. His eyes held envy. If anyone from their village became a spirit master, it would likely be Wang Li. Once everything was stowed, Wang Ping and Wang Li climbed onto the cart while Wang Shun guided the ox. Along the way, Wang Ping talked loudly about spirit masters. Some stories true, others the sort of tall tales that grow with retelling, but all full of the same reverence. On the Douluo Continent, spirit masters held a status close to nobility. Nobility was inherited, but spirit masters offered common people a sliver of hope. Even the faint possibility was worth cherishing. Outside Nuoding City, Wang Shun stayed with the ox cart while Wang Ping took Wang Li into the city. After asking a few people for directions, they found Nodding Academy. The complex was vast. The gate alone was 20 meters wide and 4 meters high, forged from thick iron. In front of the gate, an old man and a young boy were trying to register, but were being held back by a stern gatekeeper. Wang Ping and Wang Li stepped forward, ready to deal with whatever came next. At the entrance to Nodding Academy, one of the 2 gatekeepers eyed the ragged old man and the scrawny boy before him with open contempt. He held the Spirit Hall certificate in his hand and sneered. Where did these beggars come from? Trying to sneak into our Nodding Academy? Blue silver grass, what a trash spirit, and they actually claim it's level 10? Do we look like fools? He tossed the certificate back and waved them away, shouting, "Take your forged Spirit Hall certificate and get out of here, or don't blame us for being rude." Old Jack, the village chief of St. Spirit Village, scrambled to catch the certificate. He forced a bitter smile and explained, "2 little brothers, this Spirit Hall certificate is absolutely real. It was issued to our little San by a battle spirit master from the Spirit Hall. If you let us in, the teachers will be able to tell the real from the fake." The gatekeeper's face hardened. "Old man, who are you fooling? Move along, and don't make us throw you out." Before old Jack could say more, the boy beside him moved. In that narrow space, a sudden pulling force unbalanced the gatekeeper. He stumbled forward. The boy seized the chance, grabbed the man's wrist with one hand so he couldn't brace himself, then drove his elbow into the man's stomach with his whole weight. The gatekeeper folded over, groaning, and hit the ground. A faint click sounded then. The sleeve of the boy's robe concealed a hidden arrow. It had been released, the tip pressed against the fallen gatekeeper's arm as if ready to send him to his grave. The remaining gatekeeper, furious, prepared to rush them. "You old man, you brat, trying to sneak into Nodding Academy and you hit someone? See how I deal with you." Old Jack stood frozen. The thin boy's eyes were cold, edged with bare killing intent. He looked as if he had already decided what would happen if the other man moved. But an indifferent voice cut across the tension. "Stop, all of you." Both gatekeepers froze. One helped the other to his feet. They shuffled to the side, no longer daring to be haughty. A tall, gaunt, middle-aged man approached, their expressions stiff with authority. He walked up to old Jack and the boy and solemnly asked, "Sir, young man, may I see your Spirit Hall certificate?" Old Jack's relief was immediate. He handed it over quickly. "Teacher, this is our Spirit Hall certificate. Our little sand spirit is blue silver grass, but it really is level 10. The man was Yu Xiaogong, who came here every year hoping to find talented youths of humble origin he could use to test his 10 core competencies of spirits theory. His ideas were speculative, drawn from inference rather than practice, and the big factions would never accept them without proof. He needed a subject. Reading the certificate, a flash of excitement crossed his face. A blue-silver grass couldn't possibly be level 10. There had to be another spirit, an extremely high-quality one. He smoothed his expression, cleared his throat, and spoke seriously to old Jack and the boy. "No problem. This is indeed a certificate issued by the Spirit Hall. Sir, leave this child to me. I'll take him into the academy to enroll." Old Jack was overjoyed. "Thank you, teacher. We're indebted to you. Everything is in your hands." To the boy he said, "Little San, go with this teacher. Study hard and cultivate well." The boy, head bowed to appear obedient, murmured, "I understand, Grandpa Jack." He thought that the two gatekeepers had been lucky, or they would have bled today. Yu Xiaogong, wanting to make a show of authority, turned to the gatekeepers and warned coldly, "You look down on them. If there's a next time, you won't keep your jobs." Though they had connections in the academy, the gatekeepers were ordinary men in the face of a spirit master. They exchanged glances and muttered in unison, "Master Yu, we understand." Yu Xiaogong offered the boy a forced smile and, with an almost affectionate tone, said, "Little San, come with me." Tang San glanced at old Jack, then followed Yu Xiaogong through the gates. A short distance away, Wang Ping and Wang Li had watched everything. Wang Ping yanked Wang Li and dashed toward the gate. "Little Li, let's go. That must be a teacher from the academy, probably a high-ranking one. If we stick close, we'll get in for sure." Wang Li, however, kept calm. He'd watched the scene with interest. It was classic Nodding Academy trouble, and Tang San's visible anger made it even more dramatic. If someone had simply mentioned Su Yuntao's name, the matter would have been resolved more smoothly. Those two gatekeepers were ignorant. To question a Spirit Hall certificate issued by a battle spirit master from the Spirit Hall was to challenge Su Yuntao and the hall itself. They'd have been terrified. At the gate, Wang Ping stepped forward and handed over Wang Li's certificate, indicating him. "This is Wang Li from our village. A battle spirit master from the Spirit Hall issued this after he came to help with his awakening." Hearing "Battle Spirit Master from the Spirit Hall," the gatekeepers' anger drained away. They examined the certificate and stared in disbelief. Blue-silver grass again? Mutated blue-silver grass. And level 3? What is going on this year? One after another, they're all blue-silver grass. Yu Xiaogong and Tang San, not far off, both heard the remark. Surprise showed in Yu's eyes. Tang San felt it too. The gatekeepers returned the certificate to Wang Li, then waved the newcomers through with a curt warning. "You can go in, but don't loiter. Go straight to the Academic Affairs office to enroll." 6. Bad luck for you. Wang Ping was overjoyed, thanking the two doormen profusely as he urged Wang Li on. "Hurry and catch up. Follow that teacher and go to the Academic Affairs office to register." Wang Li, of course, didn't want to get mixed up with Yu Xiaogong and Tang San. There was too much trouble tied to them. Ordinary people around protagonists usually ended up as cannon fodder. What would he gain by getting involved? He didn't even have a spirit ring yet. He couldn't say that aloud, though. Grabbing his large bags, he said goodbye to Wang Ping and hurried into the academy, keeping his head down and avoiding looking directly at Yu Xiaogong and Tang San. But Yu Xiaogong and Tang San waited for him. As Wang Li approached, Yu suddenly called out, "Child, come here. I need to check your Spirit Hall certificate." Wang Li hesitated. He couldn't push back against someone stronger. He stopped and handed over the certificate and, bluntly, added, "This is my Spirit Hall certificate. It was issued by Grandmaster Su Yuntao of the Spirit Hall." A thought crossed Wang Li's mind. Could it be that Yu Xiaogong's blue lightning tyrant dragon spirit only had half a level of spirit power because of a mutation, and seeing his blue-silver grass at level 3, Yu wanted to use him as an experiment? Wang Li was sure you couldn't see his secret advantage, but if you used his authority to pressure him, Wang Li would be in trouble. Yu Xiaogong took the certificate. Wang Li's entry read, Wang Family Village, Wang Li, mutated blue silver grass spirit, 3 levels of spirit power. Yu's gaze sharpened. He had studied 647 blue silver grass owners. Only 16 had any spirit power at all, and none exceeded level 1. From that, he had concluded the blue silver grass was a rubbish spirit with no variability. He had used that conclusion to argue to Tang San that the blue silver grass couldn't be the source of 10 levels of spirit power, and therefore the spirit that could must be another powerful one, meaning Tang San had to have twin spirits. So the sudden appearance of Wang Li and his mutated blue silver grass hit him hard. The man who prided himself as the foremost theorist among spirit masters felt his face burn. Narrowing his eyes, he thought contemptuously, Su Yun Tao, anyone nowadays calling themselves Grandmaster, to call it a mutated spirit because it's level 3? The quality of Spirit Hall personnel is going downhill. Blue silver grass has no variability, Yu told himself. This kid probably just got lucky to be level 3. Even so, with a spirit like blue silver grass, his ceiling is low. Whether he could ever break far beyond 30 levels of spirit power was uncertain. In peacetime, you might have kept such a student around as an apprentice to train, but not as a disciple. Disciples had to be exceptional. Now that he had found someone far better in Tang San, he dismissed Wang Li. A mere blue-silver grass at level 3 was insufficient to support his theory about the spirit's 10 core competencies. A hint of pity crossed his face. Consider yourself unlucky, he thought. You won't have the chance to learn under me, the foremost theorist in the Spirit Master's world. He returned the certificate and said calmly, No problem. Go register. The Academic Affairs Office is straight ahead. It's a bit far, but easy to find. Wang Li was surprised but didn't argue. He took back the certificate, hoisted his bags, and left. Only after Wang Li had put some distance between them did Tang San turn to Yu, puzzled. Teacher, he has a mutated blue-silver grass. Is a spirit mutation a real thing? Yu thought about his theory and about Tang San's twin spirit talent. Warmth surged through him and a smile crossed his face. He explained firmly, Spirits come from bloodline inheritance, passed down from both parents. Generally, the stronger spirit overrides the weaker, but if the qualities are close, they can influence each other. That's a spirit mutation. It can be good or bad, but he remembered the boy with level 3 blue-silver grass and, convinced of his theory, continued, The blue-silver grass is inherently weak and completely lacks variability. It won't affect other spirits, nor be affected by them. That child just got lucky, 3 levels so he can cultivate. But his talent isn't even 1/10,000th of yours. With your innate gift and my guidance, you'll achieve things he can't even dream of. Hearing that, Tang San dismissed Wang Li entirely. After 2 lives and countless slights, someone finally recognized his talent. He was elated. With Yu Xiaogong's theoretical mastery and the secret Tang sect techniques he had retained from his previous life, Tang San was certain he'd rise to unprecedented heights. It was a pity the Tang sect elders, who had looked down on him, wouldn't live to see it. Elsewhere, Wang Li exhaled slowly and thought things over. Maybe his spirit and talent weren't enough to attract Yu Xiaogong, and he was glad of that. He had his own cheat, so there was no rush. First things first, register, and hopefully learn the Academy's basic meditation method soon. His pace picked up. Nodding Academy looked large from the outside, but wasn't hard to navigate inside. Wang Li soon found the Academic Affairs Office. The teacher standing at the door greeted him warmly. Once Wang Li stepped in, the man's expression shifted colder, likely a reaction to his worn clothes. Wang Li presented his Spirit Hall certificate and the Work Study Quota certificate jointly issued by his village chief and nearby villages, and spoke politely. Hello, teacher. I'm a new work study student. I'm here to register. The middle-aged teacher examined the documents. He was a little surprised to see a mutated blue-silver grass at 3 levels, but said nothing more than required while finishing the registration. From now on, you're a first-year freshman at Notting Academy. All work-study dorms are in 7 dorm. You can go there in a bit. Work-study students handle some of the Academy's cleaning. Your assignments will be arranged soon. Familiarize yourself with the dorm and campus today. Do not be late for the opening ceremony tomorrow." Wang Li bowed slightly and replied politely, "Understood. Thank you, teacher." Chapter 7. Combat Experience. After he finished registering, Wang Li picked up his luggage and headed to the dorms. Nodding Academy, in a small place like Nuoding City, couldn't possibly recruit many prodigies and even fewer work-study students. 7 dorm was where all the work-study students lived, regardless of age or gender, with unified accommodation and management. So when Wang Li arrived, he saw that, although the grounds were kept reasonably clean, the buildings themselves were run down. Voices and laughter drifted from inside. He'd been prepared for rough conditions. Inside the dorm, a single large room held 40 or 50 beds, but only 11 of them had bedding. 8 or 9 adolescents sat on the beds, talking and joking. As Wang Li walked in, their heads turned toward him. The living conditions were worse than he'd expected. He couldn't help but think it resembled a prisoner of war camp. Maybe only a heartless factory would be worse. Then he reminded himself he hadn't had to pay tuition. That was comforting. He smiled and announced, "Hello, everyone. I'm this year's new work-study student. My name is Wang Li." At his words, a very burly teenager stood up, pointed at himself and grinned. "You're Wang Li? I'm Wang Sheng." He puffed out his chest and added, "I'm the boss of 7 dorm. I'll give you a choice. Fight me. Win, and you get the boss seat. Lose, and you acknowledge me. Don't think I'll go easy on you just because we share the same surname. This fight has to happen." Wang Li hadn't wanted to waste time on pointless fights, but he noticed his experience display still showed 0. He'd come to the academy to grow stronger, and that meant getting experience however he could. He decided to steer the confrontation into something useful. He picked a bed, set his things down, then faced Wang Sheng. In the world of spirit masters, combat is unavoidable. I only recently awakened my spirit, but I won't back down. Wang Sheng, let's have a spirit master duel. He sounded a little theatrical, but it was calculated. Better to frame it as a controlled spar than a chaotic brawl. Wang Sheng was tall and loud, but still only 11 or 12. The call to a spirit duel lit something in him. His expression froze, then broke into a thrilled grin. "Wang Sheng, 9th rank spirit scholar, spirit war tiger, please enlighten me," he shouted, chest swelling with pride. Wang Li took a basic stance, 1 foot forward, 1 back, and began to gather his spirit power. "Wang Li, 3rd rank spirit scholar, spirit mutated blue-silver grass, please enlighten me." Those words stunned the room. Blue-silver grass? When had blue-silver grass become a cultivatable spirit? It was famous for being useless. Even Wang Sheng looked surprised, but his surprise turned to excitement. He used his cultivation and status to keep his composure. "Fine, I'll let you make the first move." Wang Li felt the blue-silver grass's passive traits, vitality and resilience, though they didn't directly raise his strength. He connected mentally with his spirit and let his spirit power circulate through his body. The warmth of that current made him feel energized. Since he'd been given the initiative, he seized it. Wang Sheng roared and swung. Wang Li bent his knees and ducked the punch, not planning to trade blows. He closed the distance quickly, wrapped both arms around Wang Sheng's waist, and rammed his shoulder into the boy's chest. Wang Li had trained for physical strength. It wasn't spirit granted, but it was solid. Even with the War Tiger spirit boosting Wang Sheng's physique, the impact shoved him back. Wang Sheng grunted in pain. Realizing he'd underestimated his opponent, Wang Sheng tried to break free. "Spirit, possess!" Yellow spirit energy poured from him. His nails and teeth sharpened, body hair sprouted, and his muscles tightened. Though without any spirit rings, the transformation wasn't deep. Still, it was enough. He rooted his feet and let his arms erupt with strength. With an angry roar, he grabbed Wang Li and hurled him away. Wang Li sailed through the air and slammed into the ground. He'd misjudged Wang Sheng's strength after spirit possession. He didn't know any lightness techniques, so the landing was heavy. He rolled to dissipate the force and pushed himself up, chest and arms aching. But then he noticed something else. The parts of his body that had hurt were cooling, and the pain eased. The strange coolness seemed to come from his spirit power and was concentrated in the injured areas. At the same time, a few words flickered in the air between them. Experience +5. Surprise turned to excitement. He'd found a way to gain experience. Wang Sheng, having regained his pride, said loudly, Wang Li, you actually forced me to use my spirit. I admit you're powerful for a spirit scholar, but that's far from enough to defeat me. Wang Li barely listened. He looked at Wang Sheng with renewed intensity. Wang Sheng, my first opponent on the path to becoming a spirit master, my strongest challenger so far. Even if you're terrifyingly strong, I won't give up. Let's fight with everything we've got. Wang Sheng's blood boiled. He'd fought plenty of self-funded students before, but never with this kind of thrill. He laughed and shouted back, I, Wang Sheng, accept. I'll use every bit of my strength to beat you. The other work-study students, who'd only come for the gossip, were suddenly animated. None had expected the duel to turn this serious, but everyone was eager. Some wished they could join in. The door of 7 dorm filled with noise as the two boys prepared to fight, and the little room seemed charged with possibility. Chapter 8. No matter who wins or loses Nodding Academy, 7th dorm. The work-study students around them held their breath, eyes fixed on the two figures locked in a standoff, Wang Sheng, who had become formidable after his spirit manifested, and Wang Li, who, despite only having blue-silver grass, had an unbreakable will. Wang Li's Chunibyo-like pronouncements and deliberate guidance had somehow given the whole bout a strangely sacred air. After all, who among young people isn't a little Chunibyo? All of them had Spirit Master talent and dreams of the Spirit Master world. Flames seemed to burn in Wang Sheng's tiger-like eyes as he roared at Wang Li. This time, I won't be careless. Then he lunged like a tiger, full force and ferocious. Wang Li's mind sharpened. He couldn't be bested so easily. He still needed every battle's experience, but without a spirit ring, the blue-silver grass gave him almost no power boost, so he had to rely on his body. As Wang Sheng's fist came in, Wang Li braced, reaching out with both hands. One grabbed Wang Sheng's wrist, the other seized his forearm, trying to neutralize the punch. But his face soon tightened. He couldn't move it. Wang Sheng had gone all out. A grin split Wang Sheng's face. He had dropped all restraint. He no longer cared about petty titles. He wanted a real Spirit Master fight. Wang Li began to retreat. Then, in a sudden move, he spun, turning his back to Wang Sheng to use his opponent's momentum for an over-the-shoulder throw. Wang Sheng knew some fighting from getting beaten in the past, but he lacked technique. Wang Li used that forward force to lift Wang Sheng. His feet left the ground and much of his power dissipated. Wang Sheng, dazed and mid-flight, reacted with ferocity and grabbed the arm Wang Li was holding. Wang Li hadn't expected such a quick counter. He couldn't break free, so he gave up resisting and went flying with Wang Sheng, using him as a cushion. Bang! They crashed to the ground and immediately kept wrestling, rolling, grappling, trading punches. It was hardly the refined combat a proper spirit master would use. It looked more like street thugs brawling. Wang Li ached from Wang Sheng's blows, but he gritted his teeth and endured. Wang Sheng, too, took a rain of fists. Though Wang Li was weaker, the muddy pit worked to his advantage. Neither could separate easily. After a while, another figure entered the dorm. Tang San paused at the doorway and watched Wang Sheng and Wang Li fighting. To him, their techniques looked ridiculous, more like a pathetic chicken fight than a duel. At Tang San's arrival, the two fighters tacitly stopped and separated. Wang Li panted hard. His face was swollen and bruised, but the 21 experience points he just earned made him laugh out loud. Wang Sheng, you're a real opponent. Wang Sheng felt a little deflated. His spirit was stronger, his spirit power higher, yet Wang Li had pushed him this far. He had to admit, Wang Li, your tenacity surprised me. This one's a draw. We'll fight again. Tang San watched with a dark brow. To him, these two chickens seemed oddly respectful of one another. Wang Li readily agreed. Next time. Wang Sheng forced a grin that cost him a wince. Then, turning to Tang San with some surprise, he said, there are quite a few new people this year. Hey, introduce yourself. Tang San frowned at being addressed so casually by the kid who'd just been rolling in the mud. He replied coldly, my name isn't Hey, I'm Tang San, a work-study student from St. Spirit Village. Wang Sheng pushed himself up. Bruised and battered but proud, he declared, I'm Wang Sheng. I'm the boss here. Just now, I and another newcomer, Wang Li, were fighting for the position of boss. For a while, it was hard to tell who'd win. Now that you're here, I'll give you two choices. Either acknowledge me as boss or beat me and take it. Those are the rules. Everyone follows them. Tang San thought this bullying was ridiculous. From watching their fight, he already had a measure of Wang Sheng's strength. Whether Wang Sheng used hidden weapons or not, Tang San believed he could beat him easily. Time to teach him a lesson. He set down what he was holding and said icily, "Come on." Wang Sheng looked Tang San up and down, dark, thin, a head shorter than Wang Li and 2 shorter than himself, and figured even if he wasn't at his best, dealing with this kid should be more than enough. He took a stance and announced loudly, "Wang Sheng, Spirit, War Tiger, 9th level Spirit Scholar." Tang San hesitated. He didn't like declaring his strength, but it seemed to be the rule here, so with a cold face he said, "Tang San, Spirit Blue Silver Grass, 10th level Spirit Scholar." Wang Sheng glanced at Wang Li, surprised to see another Blue Silver Grass, and a 10th level Spirit Scholar at that. How could the talent of Blue Silver Grass be more ridiculous than before? Still, he had already spoken, so he had to see it through. He roared and surged forward. Tang San readied himself to teach him a lesson. But Wang Li, sitting on a bed, couldn't bear to watch Wang Sheng rush in toward his doom. Even at peak condition, Wang Sheng wasn't Tang San's match. Injured like this, Wang Sheng would only get beaten for nothing. Wang Li himself was even more battered than Wang Sheng, yet the sharp pain in his body had eased and been replaced by a cool, restorative feeling. He sighed inwardly. The second-grade Blue-Silver Grass hadn't boosted his power much, but his injuries recovered quickly. That was the vitality trait at work. The toughness passive helped too. Once he recovered, he'd be physically stronger, which was another path to power. Besides, physique affected the age limit of spirit rings you could absorb. Chapter 9. Blue-Silver Grass. Mutated Blue-Silver Grass. Meanwhile, on the other side, Wang Sheng had indeed been taken down by Tang San and was now lying on the ground, struggling to get up. He was injured on top of his previous wounds, but he didn't blame Tang San. Instead, he let out a sigh of relief and said, "Tang San, I can't beat you, and Wang Li probably can't either. From now on, you're the boss of Dorm 7. Tang San's face stayed calm. "I didn't want to fight you in the first place, and I don't want to be the boss of Dorm 7. Wang Sheng's expression turned serious, though his bruised face made him look a little comical. "Tang San, it's always been the rule. We work-study students are the poorest and least influential group at Notting Academy. The teachers don't pay us much mind, but they don't bully us either. The self-funded kids from noble families, though, those who pay their own tuition and train here, enjoy picking on us. They have strong backgrounds. Even when the teachers scold them, they won't get punished. To avoid being bullied, us work-study students have to stick together. The strongest among us becomes the boss, respected by everyone, and also responsible for protecting them." Wang Sheng's face was full of helplessness. Tang San frowned. He hadn't expected such petty politics in this small academy. He didn't want to get entangled, but being singled out would cause trouble. He nodded. "If someone bullies us, I won't stand by. But don't call me boss. I don't like it." At that moment, Wang Li's attention shifted from Tang San and Wang Sheng to the dormitory's main entrance. Sure enough, not long after, a small girl with a scorpion tail braid walked in and looked around. She spoke in a sweet voice. "Is this Dorm 7? Wang Li took a deep breath. His eyes flickered. Tang San arrived first, and Xiao Wu had come too. The wheels of fate, he thought. When the girl spoke, everyone in the dormitory turned to look. Tang San met her gaze. A faint blush crept over his darker features. He asked Wang Sheng in disbelief, "The academy dorms don't separate genders?" Wang Sheng gave him a strange look. "We're all work-study students and kids. The academy won't give us special treatment." Then Wang Sheng, excited, urged, "You're the boss now. Go on, teach her a lesson. Show her how powerful you are." Tang San recoiled at the idea of roughing up a girl. While he hesitated, Xiao Wu had already stepped into the room, smiling sweetly at everyone. "I'm Xiao Wu, the Wu for dancing. Could you please not block my way?" Now pressured by Wang Sheng, Tang San decided he had to at least make a show of something. But unlike with Wang Sheng, he only meant it to be symbolic. He said, "My name's Tang San. My spirit is Blue Silver Grass. I'm a 10th level spirit scholar, and I'm the dorm leader here. According to the rules of Dorm 7, newcomers must demonstrate their spirit's strength." Xiao Wu glanced at the bruised faces of Wang Sheng and Wang Li behind Tang San and understood what demonstrate strength meant. She wasn't afraid. If anything, she brightened. "All right, then I won't be polite," she said, setting the school uniform she carried to the side. Xiao Wu, Spirit Rabbit, 10th level Spirit Scholar. Then she moved. Her right leg snapped out, toes pointed straight at Tang San's chin. Tang San was stunned. Xiao Wu was also a 10th level Spirit Scholar, and her attack was blindingly fast. He reacted hurriedly, turning aside and grabbing her ankle with one hand while using an Iron Mountain Lean to strike. The Iron Mountain Lean can be either a real strike or a feint. Tempted by Xiao Wu's appearance, Tang San hardly used force, planning to hold back. Xiao Wu turned out to be stronger than he expected. She met Tang San's move head-on, closing in instead of retreating. In a whirl of agile maneuvers, she ended up on top of him. No, she trapped him with her calves like a taut bow, suddenly exerting force and hurling him away. Xiao Wu landed solidly. Tang San hit the ground with a thud. Everyone stared. They had assumed Tang San was the strongest among them, but none of them had expected Xiao Wu to be even more formidable. Where had this powerhouse come from? Wang Li replayed the fight in his head, irritated. If he'd known he could transmigrate, he'd have learned Tai Chi. Facing Tang San and Xiao Wu now, he had no advantage except for a panel. Tang San was already back on his feet, staring at Xiao Wu. "You said you're a 10th level Spirit Scholar. Do you also have innate full spirit power?" Xiao Wu had wanted to press the attack, but she laughed softly at the question. "That's right. Do you still want to fight?" Tang San shook his head, raised his hand, and released his spirit. A plant sprouted from nothing. He looked resigned. "This is my spirit. My spirit is countered by yours. I definitely can't beat you. From now on, you'll be the boss of this dorm. That means you're boss of all these people." Xiao Wu's face lit up with interest, then she frowned slightly. "Since I'm the boss," she announced, "my first order is, no one calls me boss. It makes me sound old. You must call me Sister Xiao Wu." Everyone present remembered her earlier display of force and dared not argue. They called out together, "Sister Xiao Wu." Wang Sheng was completely convinced. Last year, there hadn't been a single new student, but this year, 2 innate full spirit power students had arrived. The only thing puzzling him, and everyone else, was, is blue silver grass really that powerful now? One at 3rd level spirit power, one at 10th level. All eyes turned to Wang Li. He met their gaze, raised his right hand, and activated his spirit. A stalk, thicker and straighter than ordinary blue silver grass, sprang up in his palm. He announced, deliberately, "This is my spirit, mutated blue silver grass." People on the Douluo Continent were generally superstitious. Wang Li's Spirit Hall certificate read, "Mutated blue silver grass," so he was determined to make the most of the label. No matter how his blue silver grass changed in the future, he could always blame it on mutation. With the continent's reverence for spirits, even if he rose to Spirit Master in a few months and to Spirit Grandmaster or Spirit Elder later, he could always point to that one word and make it sound logical. Xiao Wu looked first at Tang San's blue silver grass, then at Wang Li's thicker stalk. She seemed to discover something incredible and exclaimed, "Your blue silver grass is so big, it's several times larger than Tang San's." An expression of disbelief flashed across Tang San's face. He looked at Wang Li's blue silver grass, then at his own. Everyone was using blue silver grass, so why was the difference so huge? For a moment, he couldn't help but doubt what Yu Xiaogang had told him, that a spirit like blue silver grass had no potential for mutation. But Wang Li's grass was thick and upright, clearly not ordinary. Could it really be mutated blue silver grass? It's so big. It's so thick. The crowd around them murmured in amazement. Comparing Wang Li's robust stalks to Tang San's small, thin blue silver grass, they were already convinced. Wang Li had a mutated blue silver grass. Seeing the expression of success on everyone's faces, Wang Li retracted his spirit and reached into the packages he had brought. He pulled out a bag of fruit, opened it, set it before them, and said, "These are fruits the villagers gave me when I arrived. Help yourselves. We'll be roommates from now on." No one stood on ceremony. The green and red fruit made mouths water. People began reaching for them while thanking him. Wang Li smiled as he watched, then picked out 6 or 7 and walked over to Xiao Wu. He handed them to her and said, Big Sister Xiaowu, these are for you. Xiaowu, now established as a 100,000-year-old rabbit, loved juicy fruits and vegetables. Her eyes brightened as she took them. You kid, you're thoughtful. From now on, Big Sister Xiaowu will look after you. Wang Li smiled back. Many thanks, Big Sister Xiaowu. His reasoning was simple. He didn't like owing favors. Besides, if some titled Douluo later hunted this 100,000-year-old rabbit, he wanted to be able to flee with a clear conscience. Before he reached the level of a 19, he didn't want to make enemies of any titled Douluo. The gaming experience he wanted definitely did not include being hunted down. Looking around, everyone was already eating the fruit. Wang Sheng even held two, one in each hand. Tang San, however, stood awkwardly with nothing to do. Seeing this, Wang Li thought, not good. He hurriedly took two fruits, shoved them into Tang San's hands, and said, Tang San, you should eat too. They look a bit green, but they taste good. Tang San hesitated for a moment, then accepted them. Thank you. Wang Li chuckled twice and let it go. As long as Tang San didn't hold a grudge over a couple of fruits, all was well. He certainly didn't want to choose a road that led to trouble over something so small. Xiaowu munched contentedly and asked, Who can tell me what school life will be like from now on? Wang Sheng, the oldest among them and already a 6th grade student, swallowed a mouthful of fruit and explained, Yesterday was registration for returning students. Today is registration for new students. Tomorrow is the opening ceremony, and the day after that, classes officially begin. In the mornings, there are 2 classes, one cultural, one spirit knowledge. Afternoons are for cultivation. For self-funded students, the afternoon is entirely free. For us work-study students, we have to clean part of the campus in the afternoon to earn money for meals. Specific tasks are assigned by the teachers. After the work is done, we can cultivate as we please. Take me as an example. I'm currently a level 9 spirit scholar. If I cultivate to level 10 and graduate, a teacher will take me hunting for a spirit beast. Once I obtain 11, I'll be a true spirit master. Only then will the academy recognize my graduation. Xiaowu's fruit suddenly seemed less appealing. Is it absolutely necessary to hunt spirit beasts? She asked, puzzled. Wang Sheng nodded emphatically. Of course. Without 11, how can you become a spirit master? Xiaowu looked down and fell silent, thoughts hidden from the others. At that moment, a voice called from outside the dormitory, The 3 new students this year. Come out for a moment. That's the teacher, Wang Sheng said at once. Wang Li, Tang San, and Xiaowu set their things down and hurried outside. A middle-aged man with green hair stood there holding a quilt. Seeing them, he asked, Who is Tang San? Tang San stepped forward. Teacher, it's me. The man introduced himself. My name is Mo Hen. You can call me Teacher Mo. Tang San, this is the betting grandmaster prepared for you. Familiarize yourselves with the campus today. If you don't understand something, ask Wang Sheng. He's the oldest returning student. Tomorrow is the opening ceremony. Don't be late. Classes start the day after tomorrow. Starting then, you'll also be responsible for cleaning a portion of the campus in the afternoons, the garden on the south side of the playground. It's 10 fives a day. Clean carefully. Debris must be cleared away. I'll inspect at any time. Light punishment for sloppiness is a wage deduction. Heavy punishment is expulsion. He handed the bedding to Tang San and left quickly. After he left, Xiaowu fixed her eyes on Tang San's bedding. Wang Li, meanwhile, strode back into the dormitory, thinking, I have a panel and can gain experience. If nothing goes wrong, my cultivation should be faster than normal. After I reach level 10, getting LI 11 will probably be the same as Wang Sheng. I'll have to rely on the academy teachers to hunt a spirit beast. Wang Li had no intention of hunting spirit beasts himself. The captive hunting soul forest required a permit, and wild spirit beast forests were too dangerous. As an ordinary commoner with no background, he could only count on the academy to obtain 11. Entering the dormitory, he spread the bedding he'd brought onto a bed he'd chosen, then checked his injuries again. His body didn't hurt much now. The wounds were superficial. His bones and muscles weren't injured. He had, however, expended a significant amount of nines. Still, spending a little nine to recover quickly from injuries was an incredible advantage. With that alone, even if he couldn't claim invincibility, his survivability was greatly improved. If he ever cultivated to a profound realm where injuries could be instantly healed, that would be terrifying. Wang Li had truly experienced the effect of rapid recovery. As for whether his physique was strengthened after such recovery, he didn't feel anything dramatic. He wasn't yet sure what the effect actually did. He'd need to keep fighting. That would both earn him experience and reveal how far his toughness passive could strengthen his body. Chapter 11. Start practicing. On the other side of the room, Xiao Wu had already claimed half of Tang San's quilt. In that matter, Tang San was the most reluctant of the two. Wang Sheng had been hurt, but injury couldn't stop him from eating. He announced loudly, "It's time for lunch. Let's go to the cafeteria together." Wang Li had only eaten dry rations with hot water that morning and was starving, so he agreed immediately. "Great, it's perfect for getting familiar with the campus." Tang San lowered his head. He had no money. The bronze coins his father had earned from blacksmithing had all been spent on wine. He had never eaten his fill at home. Where would he find the money for the cafeteria? He only said coldly, "You guys go ahead. I'll just eat some coarse biscuits." Xiao Wu hesitated. "Do we need bronze coins to eat in the cafeteria?" Wang Sheng was stunned. Of course you needed bronze coins. He glanced first at Tang San, then at Xiao Wu, and roughly understood their situation. No money. Two geniuses with full innate spirit power, and especially good fighters, had no coin in their pockets. Wang Sheng swallowed his embarrassment, patted his chest, and said, "Come with me to the cafeteria. I'll cover your meals for the next 2 days. Consider it a celebration. Our work-study team just got stronger." Xiao Wu jumped up, bursting with energy. "Yay!" Seeing Xiao Wu agree, Tang San hesitated, then said softly, "Thank you." So all the work-study students went together, solidarity being their way of survival. They stuck together whenever possible, never easily letting anyone be left behind. Halfway there, Wang Sheng glanced at Wang Li, scratched his head, and said, "Wang Li, your bruises look to be fading. Do you recover that fast?" Wang Li looked at Wang Sheng's face, which was still dark and swollen from the fight, and kept the truth to himself. "Maybe you held back, so I recovered quickly." Wang Sheng knew he hadn't held back during the fight, but decided it wasn't worth arguing and let it drop. Wang Li offered no more explanation. Some things were best kept private. The school cafeteria was a 2-story building, large enough to seat over 300 teachers and students, so it took up considerable space. They were all chatting as they entered when someone sneered from the stairwell between the first and second floors. "Tsk, isn't that Wang Sheng and his gang of paupers?" The speaker was about 11 or 12, fairly good-looking, but his eyes were filled with malice and contempt, clearly a bully. Xiao Wu, who was older sister of the Stardew Great Forest and normally flanked by a Titan giant ape on one side and a sky azure bull python on the other, would never let an insult pass. Wang Sheng had even offered to pay for everyone's meals, so she stepped forward, hands on her hips, frowning. "Who's that barking like a mad dog?" The boy on the stairs lit up at the provocation. The students on Douluo Continent grew up fast and didn't miss much. He ignored Xiao Wu's words and said to himself, "What a cute little girl. Wang Sheng, I'll let you off today. Next time we'll get to know each other properly." He led his group up to the second floor laughing. Xiao Wu still wanted to chase after them, but Wang Sheng pulled her back. He appreciated her courage in standing up, but their money was tight, and he didn't want her going upstairs where everything was pricier. "Sister Xiao Wu, the second floor is for a la carte orders. It's very expensive. We can't afford it. Let them go, but we shouldn't follow." Xiao Wu had no real concept of money, but seeing Wang Sheng's look, she calmed down. Meanwhile, Tang San had approached Yu Xiaogang, who had arrived earlier, and respectfully called him teacher. Yu Xiaogang had been about to lead him toward the second floor, but the sight of Xiao Wu made him hesitate, and he stayed. When Tang San returned, Wang Sheng warned him briskly. "Tang San, Grandmaster isn't a regular teacher. Don't get it wrong. He's just an honorary elder, doesn't teach classes or lead students. There's no point flattering him." Tang San's brows tightened and his voice went cold. "Wang Sheng, Grandmaster is my teacher. If you disrespect my teacher again, don't blame me for being rude to you." He said it and walked away, not even wanting to eat. Wang Sheng, left standing there, scratched his head. He'd only tried to look out for Tang San and gotten scolded for it. "Are you crazy?" he muttered. Wang Li had watched all this in silence. What interested him more was the cafeteria fare. From his observations, most self-funded students ate on the first floor. Only a handful could afford the second floor. Their families had to be wealthy or noble. The first floor couldn't do a la carte, but there were over a dozen dishes to choose from, meat and vegetable options, with posted prices. Meat dishes ran 4 to 6 bronze coins, vegetable dishes 1 to 2 coins, rice 1 coin, porridge 1 coin, and a few pastries at varying prices. Work-study students earned 10 bronze coins a day from labor, so there wasn't much room for choice. Without Tangsen, everyone still ate. Wang Li paid for his own meal, spending 6 bronze coins for the simplest combination, 1 meat dish and 1 vegetable dish. Among the work-study students, that was a meal to envy. After eating, led by Wang Sheng, they toured the academy, found the classroom where they'd have lessons later, and located the garden south of the playground that needed cleaning. Back in the dormitory, most of the work-study students began cultivating. They all came from humble backgrounds and could only truly become spirit masters, and thus be recognized as students of Notting Academy, if they reached the 10th level within 6 years. Otherwise, the academy wouldn't acknowledge them. Even Wang Li was no exception. He didn't have a basic meditation method, but he'd gained 26 experience points and had to try to improve his spirit power. Sitting on the bed, he took a cultivation posture, though in truth he was communicating with the panel that appeared in his mind. At the spirit power, level 54% plus position, he reached out with his will and pressed the plus. The panel shifted to Start Spirit Power Enhancement, Yes, No. Wang Li did not hesitate. He pressed yes with his will. In an instant, everything inside him changed. His spirit power was drawn by an invisible force, surging out like a coiling dragon or a writhing snake, wild and unrestrained. Chapter 12. Upgraded 2 levels in a row. Wang Li discovered it wasn't what he had imagined. The experience he'd gained from the fight didn't directly convert into spirit power. Instead, it set his spirit power surging wildly along a distinctive circulation path. As the power advanced through that path, it strengthened steadily, and he could feel the growth clearly. A thought struck him. This wasn't a game world, so experience couldn't simply be turned into spirit power. What he'd received was more like idle cultivation, spirit power improving on its own rather than being driven by his conscious guidance. Right now, the flow of spirit power in his body didn't obey his will. It felt as if something else had taken control. Even so, the power increased. That was idle cultivation. Then a bolder idea formed. Perhaps the current circulation route was itself a high-grade meditation technique. Maybe the basic meditation they taught at the academy wasn't more advanced than this. Maybe this was better. The possibility thrilled him. If he could memorize this circulation pattern, he'd effectively have a first-rate meditation technique for free. He composed himself and let his consciousness follow the spirit power as it moved. He watched how it traveled through his meridians and committed the pattern to memory. Time slipped by unnoticed. At first, the circulation felt natural and easy, but eventually it slowed. Every step required huge effort. The enhancement felt so good that he didn't want to stop, so he forced his consciousness to guide and envelop the flow and kept going. The circulation path proved intricate and profound. Where it had felt like effortless, idle cultivation before, now he had to rely on memory and muscle to mobilize his spirit power. Hardship and fatigue set in. He grew very, very tired, mentally and physically exhausted as if carrying a heavy load. Only the refreshment of each increase in spirit power kept him pushing forward. 1 cycle, 2 cycles, each full cycle of circulation brought noticeable improvement. 3 cycles, 4 cycles, he was nearly spent. On the 5th cycle, he finally stopped. It felt like steel needles were pricking his skull and a wave of emptiness washed over him. He opened his eyes, realizing how wonderful the enhancement felt, but also how costly the process had been. No wonder cultivation required a balance of work and rest. It wasn't something one could force through sheer will alone. Rubbing his aching temples, Wang Li opened his panel. Host, Wang Li Spirit, Blue Silver Grass, Elf of 2, Evolving. Spirit Power Level 5, 9%, plus Trait, Vitality. LV2 blue silver grass is common across the continent, Though weak, it has strong vitality and can slowly recover from injuries. Passive. Tenacity level 2. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. When suffering abnormal conditions, as long as death is avoided, the body grows stronger after recovery. Spirit ring, none. Spirit bone, none. Experience. Experience resetting to 0 didn't surprise him, but his spirit power level far exceeded his expectations. One session of cultivation had produced 2 consecutive level breakthroughs. He couldn't help but be astonished and delighted. That single sparring match with Wang Sheng had given him a huge boost. If he kept fighting and gaining experience, his levels would climb quickly. He grinned at the thought of reaching level 10 and becoming a one-ring spirit master, not far off now. Just then, he noticed Tang San hurrying toward the dormitory. It had grown dark without his realizing it. Wang Li sat up as Tang San came in and spoke without hesitation. Wang Li, I need a favor. My teacher's taking me to get a spirit ring tomorrow, so I'll be away from the academy for a while. The garden cleaning assigned to us can only be handled by you and Xiao Wu while I'm gone. When I get back, I'll finish the rest of the cleaning for the year, and you'll still get paid. Xiao Wu's already agreed. Will you do it? It sounded less like a request and more like an announcement. Wang Li smiled and nodded. Sure, getting a spirit ring the day after enrollment, now that's enviable. Tang San relaxed a little, then added, perhaps as reassurance, you've got talent too. You'll definitely hit level 10 fast. Wang Li's mouth twitched. I hope so. After Tang San left, Wang Li lay back and rested. The needle-like headache made him drowsy, and the emptiness in his stomach reminded him he hadn't eaten. It was already dark, and he wasn't sure the cafeteria was still open, so he ate some dry rations and fruit to tide himself over, and then, exhausted, went straight to bed. The next morning, Wang Sheng woke him. Even after a full night's sleep, he still felt heavy-eyed. The meditation technique clearly had strong after-effects, as if it had drained him. He forced himself up, put on his school uniform. It felt better than any clothes he'd worn before, used the washroom, brushed his teeth, and went with the others to the cafeteria to eat. All the work-study students then went to their assigned classrooms. The opening ceremony would be handled by the homeroom teachers. Every year, it followed the same routine. The principal gave a speech about the history of spirit masters. The director spoke about the academy's development, summarized the past year, outlined plans for the coming year, urged everyone to cultivate diligently, and explained how outstanding graduates would be recommended to prestigious intermediate Soul Master academies. 13. Level 10 Soul Warrior life at the academy was exciting only at the very beginning. After that, it settled into a dull routine. The only thing that truly gave Wang Li joy were the cultivation sessions, which came every 3 to 5 days. Why such gaps? Because each session required 3 to 5 days of recovery. Wang Li hadn't learned the academy's basic meditation method. He used the technique from his system panel instead, an immensely powerful method. He suspected that, without experienced guidance, anyone trying it would be best off combining it with medicinal baths or supplements to speed progress and make up for the body's deficiencies. He had none of those, so he simply waited for his body to recover naturally. That made him ravenous. He ate far more than his classmates every day. Fortunately, he had taken a decent amount of silver coins from home. Otherwise, the 10 bronze coins he earned daily from cleaning wouldn't have covered it. Still, the effects were incredible. One session equaled 10 days to half a month of ordinary cultivation. His system panel let him watch his progress visually. By his estimate, after 4 or 5 sessions, he could advance a full level of spirit power. Cultivation in the Spirit Scholar stage was already relatively fast, but his speed was absurd even for that. The academy itself was monotonous. The only real entertainment came from a senior named Xiao Chenyu. Being the city lord's son, he preferred bullying the work-study students to actual cultivation. Xiao Wu wasn't someone to be pushed around, and one day she formally challenged Xiao Chenyu and his group of seniors. Wang Li, as a work-study student, had to go along. He wanted to fight for experience, but his spirit was not suited to combat, and nobody wanted to risk him recklessly. Wang Sheng stepped forward first, but before his duel ended, Tang San returned from acquiring a spirit ring, leaving Wang Li even less chance to fight. He stood watching, bored. Tangsan faced Xiao Chenyu. When Tangsan's 100-year spirit ring appeared, Xiao Chenyu's 10-year ring looked ridiculous by comparison. Wang Li fumed inwardly. Wasn't Xiao Chenyu the city lord's son? How did he only have a 10-year ring? Nuoding City was a remote small city, but the city lord was still nobility. For his son to start with a 10-year ring like any commoner felt unfair. Perhaps Xiao Chenyu was an illegitimate son, left to grow up at Notting Academy, while the true heir had been sent elsewhere. No matter the reason, the contrast made Tangsan shine all the more. As expected, first-year Tangsan utterly crushed sixth-year Xiao Chenyu. The defeated senior group crumbled. Then, Xiao Wu's spirit manifested. She was an 11th level battle spirit master and produced a yellow 100-year spirit ring. Everyone, including Xiao Chenyu, was completely cowed. Only Wang Li felt bitter. He had gained no experience points. To him, it felt like missing out on a fortune. He had to cultivate harder. He needed real strength to get into more battles, earn experience, and improve. 3 months flashed by. Inside Wang Li, spirit power surged through his meridians like a raging dragon, greedily drawing in external spirit energy, compressing and condensing it into his own strength at a blistering rate. When the cycle completed, his internal spirit power leapt forward. He had officially broken through to level 10. Wang Li was elated. He concentrated, channeling his spirit back to his dantian until the restlessness in him calmed. In his dantian, spirit power nourished the blue-silver grass spirit there, and the grass in turn fed the spirit power. A comforting warmth spread through him. Opening his eyes slowly, he felt a joy he could hardly describe. 3 months ago, he'd been a 3rd-level spirit scholar. Now he was level 10, a cultivation speed rivaling top geniuses. It was already evening, but not yet deep night. The others in the dorm were still cultivating. Wang Li glanced at Wang Sheng, who had often boasted that he would soon reach level 10. Now Wang Li had overtaken him. Wang Sheng liked to make loud proclamations. Wang Li kept quiet. No one actually knew his true spirit level. The academy used crystal balls to test spirit power, but only at the semester's end, like a final exam. As long as he stayed silent, no one would find out. He couldn't hunt spirit beasts on his own to obtain a spirit ring, so whether he announced his level or not made no practical difference. If he relied on the academy's hunts, he'd have to wait until the current 6th years graduated. Only then would all students who had reached level 10 be taken to the Hunting Soul Forest to hunt spirit beasts together. There were no exceptions. Since he'd reached level 10, he decided not to continue cultivating that night. He lay back and stared at the ceiling, thinking, even without a spirit ring, my cultivated power would take shape once I absorbed one. But more important now were defensive techniques, self-forged spirit abilities. The difficulty would be high, but he had to try. He fell asleep and woke with the sun. 2 morning classes, culture and spirit knowledge, couldn't be missed. Bored though he found them, he studied dutifully. In the afternoon, he went to the back mountain. The ecology of the Douluo Continent was excellent. Blue-silver grass carpeted the ground, and the hills were shaded by green trees. Birds and cicadas filled the air. He didn't go far, finding a hillside thick with blue-silver grass. From there, he could still see Notting Academy below. Wang Li took a deep breath, peeled off his school uniform to reveal tanned skin and a sturdy chest, and set his expression. He spoke slowly and firmly. Then let's begin. True cultivation. He had never learned formal martial arts, but his spirit carried versatile passives of vitality and toughness. His plan was to injure his own body and let it recover naturally, testing whether he could forge a defensive technique like a golden bell shield or an iron cloth shirt through this process. With that intent, he settled down among the grass and began. 14. Henglian, Shenfa Wang Li's spirit power flowed through his whole body. He picked a large tree, closed his eyes, steeled himself, and rammed into it. Bang! The impact thudded through him and he was bounced back, staggering. He shook his hands and grimaced. He had hit the trunk with his arms folded across his chest. They were already bruised. Once his spirit power circulated, the burning pain eased. He did not wait for his arms to recover fully. Instead, he threw his shoulder into the tree again. Bang! 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 Over and over, Wang Li collided with the trunk, counting each strike to himself. Relying on his body's slow regenerative ability, he kept pushing. By the end, there wasn't a single unmarked spot on him. Bruises, broken skin, blood, utterly disheveled. Whew, whew. Lying on the blue-silver grass slope, Wang Li panted. The tree crashing had not only left his skin sore, his lungs burned. Although it looked simple, the exercise mobilized his entire body. From the way he applied force to the way spirit power and flesh combined, his body was gradually adapting through repeated practice. With spirit power soothing him, his damaged flesh healed quickly. Muscle tissue reactivated and thickened. Subcutaneous layers, like raw iron under the forge, were being forged and purified. Scabs of various sizes formed, with granulation tissue growing and knitting the wounds closed. All of this kept happening beneath his awareness. He could only see that his injuries were getting better. Spirit abilities aren't something you can just create out of thin air, he thought. If I want to develop one myself, I should start from what I already have. Maybe I can shape something like a golden bell shield or iron shirt using vitality and resilience. He lay on the slope, frowning, and planned aloud. Being tough is one thing, but I can't always just take hits. I need speed and agility too. Even if I can't beat agility attack spirit masters outright, I can't be easy prey for them. I'll try infusing spirit power into my legs, see if I can make it erupt to boost my speed. One step at a time. As long as I don't blow my legs off, I can let them recover and try again. I have the vitality trait. I need to make full use of it, not only for healing. Is it that my spirit power has a healing effect, or does it simply stimulate the body's self-healing? He still had doubts, but his eyes were bright. To grow stronger, he needed to understand and master his own body completely and unleash his power. The system panel was silent, but life was not. He had once obtained a meditation method from that panel. Perhaps he could develop more techniques himself. Unconsciously, he stayed there until dusk. Feeling his wounds mostly mended, Wang Li rose, picked up his school uniform, and walked down the mountain, pulling it on as he went. He looked messier than usual, but internally he was fine. No broken bones, no internal injuries. He didn't notice, though, that where he had been lying, the blue-silver grass had absorbed some of his dripping blood and sprouted a different kind of vigor. The blades nearest him swayed and grew greener. Back at Notting Academy, Wang Li ate a big meal in the cafeteria, then returned to the dormitory. Tang San was still at the blacksmith's, and Xiao Wu had not come back from shopping. Most of the others were there, and Wang Li greeted them. Wang Sheng eyed him and asked seriously, "Wang Li, were you bullied?" Wang Li waved him off. "Relax, no one bullied me. I went to the back mountain to train. My spirit can't directly boost combat, so I have to train my body." Wang Sheng nodded, smirking. "True. How much stronger can blue-silver grass become after it absorbs a spirit ring? Compare that to my war tiger spirit. Absorb a ring, and I can be powerful. I'm about to break through to level 10. Wang Li had already reached level 10, but he kept that to himself. To Wang Sheng, he spoke in a tone that seemed sincere, but was actually perfunctory. "Your spirit's the war tiger, king of beasts. Mine's just common blue-silver grass. You'll get strong easily, so I have to work twice as hard." After glossing over his back mountain training, Wang Li fetched clear water and washed, rinsing away dust and mud. He didn't pick at the scabs. He would let them fall off on their own. Only an afternoon had passed. He needed at least one more night for the wounds beneath to heal. He went to bed early to rest. More training awaited tomorrow. The next day was calm. After a satisfying but routine morning of classes, he returned to the back mountain in the afternoon and found the familiar blue-silver grass slope. He stripped off his school uniform to stretch. Having spent the prior day ramming trees, today he planned something different. He found an open patch and directed spirit power to his legs to test his control. He funneled power down into his feet, compress, 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 then leaned into a running stance. Bang! The stored power burst out. He shot upward but then fell hard, rolling along the ground with a cry. He bit back a groan. He pulled off his shoes. His calves were bright red, countless tiny capillaries ruptured. His feet were a mess of blood and torn skin. The spirit power he'd compressed had exploded uncontrollably. Fortunately, his spirit power was mild and carried a healing effect. His feet cooled, the pain eased, and the injuries had already begun to mend. Sighing, Wang Li admitted to himself, Trying to invent a movement spirit ability is harder than training to develop a golden bell shield or iron shirt by taking hits. Good thing my spirit traits are vitality and resilience. They're really helping. After resting for 10 minutes, he got up again. Barefoot now, he planted his feet on the earth and channeled spirit power into his legs and feet, but this time he focused on finer control rather than brute compression. He couldn't fly yet. He hadn't learned to walk with spirit power, so he took it step by step, ready to experiment and learn through trial and error. 15. I've reached level 10 too. 5 months had flashed by at Notting Academy, out behind the mountains. Late autumn had come. The air was growing cold, grass and leaves yellowing and withering, and leaves drifting from the trees. A few lone birds still pecked the ground, hunting seeds and insects to fill their bellies. A figure, quick as a wild rabbit, moved through the forest. He darted among the trees with the agility of a monkey, scattering several birds that had been feeding on the forest floor. As he streaked past, the startled birds took to the air. But before they could get far, the figure changed direction and returned, opening his hands. 7 or 8 of the birds that had flown up were suddenly caught, then released. They flapped frantic wings and chirped as they fled again. The runner was Wang Li. He had been at the academy for 8 months. Compared with when he first arrived, he had shot up in height, filled out broad shoulders, and built a solid, powerful frame. His school uniform, once loose, now fit him perfectly. Months of brutal physical training, literally smashing into trees, had hardened his muscles and skin. Even his layer of fat felt like iron. His skin was tough as leather. The training had been painful, but effective. Every movement now could unleash his full strength. Wang Li's physique put him on par with attack system spirit masters of the same realm, but he had something they often lacked: speed and agility. After countless experiments, he had invented 2 movement spirit abilities of his own. The first he called explosive feet. By compressing spirit power in his souls and controlling the direction of its release, he could greatly increase his speed. At extreme use, he could even suspend briefly in midair and change direction, but it burned an enormous amount of spirit power. As a 10th level spirit scholar, he could only use that extreme burst a few times before running dry. So he developed a second, refined technique: instant step. He compressed spirit power in his souls into a dense, stable cluster. When he pushed off the ground, that concentrated force acted like a spring, propelling him farther and faster, but consuming far less spirit. Instant step was more economical, but every bit as hard to control. Judging force and direction while running on uneven ground or in trees was a constant challenge. Both techniques required heart separation control. The spirit cluster in his souls had to be maintained with relentless focus. If he lost concentration in the midst of a fight and the cluster detonated, his feet would take the brunt of the damage. His legs had literally exploded more times than he could count. Each time, his vitality and stubborn healing rebuilt them stronger, and each recovery made him a little more resilient to the next blast. Explosive feet and instant step, used together, let him move through forest and treetop like a wild rabbit, an agile ape. Their development was only the beginning. As his spirit power and control grew, so would the techniques. Once perfected, he would be the sort of spirit scholar who could found his own sect. Wang Li paused, looking back at the little mountain behind the academy where he'd lived and trained for 5 months. He sighed. Time really flies. I probably won't be coming back here. He descended the mountain. At Notting Academy, 1 semester effectively lasted a year, 10 months in their terms. It had been only 8 months since his arrival. First years wouldn't be on break yet, but the 6th years were preparing to graduate. The graduation assessment involved hunting spirit beasts, a dangerous and time-consuming task, so preparations had to start 2 months in advance. Tomorrow would be the 6th year assessment. Wang Li planned to take part in the test and then, with the teacher's help, join a hunt to claim a spirit ring. The next morning, he skipped his early class and hurried to the 6th year classroom. A crowd of students, mostly from other grades, had gathered outside. The 6th years were inside, undergoing their spirit power tests. It was common for younger students to sneak a look. One day they would stand where those 6th years stood. Wang Li pushed through the watching students and peered in. 5 teachers sat at the front, Director Su of the Academic Affairs Office among them. Over 46th years were lined up. One by one, they walked forward and placed a hand on a crystal ball that measured spirit power. When the ball flared bright, the student had reached the 10th level and would be taken by the academy to hunt a spirit beast for free. If the ball did not glow, the student faced the grim possibility of being forced to withdraw. Even if they later trained to the 10th level on their own, obtaining a spirit ring would require hiring a spirit master to hunt for them, an expense most families would find crushing. For self-funded students with wealthy families, that might be manageable. For work-study students like Wang Sheng, it was nearly impossible unless they had connections. One by one, the tests went by, the room filling with shouts of joy and the opposite, stifled sobs of disappointment. Then Wang Sheng stepped forward. He pressed his hand to the crystal ball, and it exploded into brilliant light. He nearly leapt with excitement. Yesterday had been his most intense day of cultivation. He had crammed as if his future depended on this moment, and it had paid off. When the testing ended, only 12 out of the 40-plus students had reached the 10th level, proof of how rare a spirit master was in a remote place like Nuoding City. Wang Li then walked straight into the classroom. Conversations faltered, and all eyes turned to him. He raised his voice to cut through the sudden hush. "Teachers, I want to take the assessment too. My spirit power has reached the 10th level." For a beat, the room was stunned. Director Su cleared his throat. "What's your name? What grade are you in? You say your spirit power is at the 10th level. Then come test it." Wang Li stepped forward without a trace of nervousness. Wang Li, first year. He placed his hand on the crystal ball. For a moment, nothing happened, and the silence stretched thin. Then, in an instant, a brilliant, blinding light erupted from the sphere. 16. Let's go to the soul-hunting forest. The light blooming from the crystal ball left no doubt. Wang Li's spirit power had reached level 10. That alone was shocking, and even more so because Wang Li was only a first-year student. Still, the class reacted with a numb kind of relief. There were already 2 first-years with innate full spirit power, Tang San and Xiao Wu, who had become one-ring spirit masters, so adding another did not completely unnerve them. The only one still bewildered was Wang Sheng. He shared a dorm with Wang Li and had no idea his roommate had quietly broken through to level 10. Director Su's face brightened into a proud smile. Another first-year genius who could be a one-ring spirit master was good for the academy, though he couldn't help asking, "When did you break through to level 10 spirit power, Wang Li?" Wang Li withdrew his hand and, facing the question, put on a sincere smile and lied smoothly. "Not long ago. Maybe because my spirit is a mutated one. My cultivation speed is a bit faster than normal." Director Su nodded. Since Wang Li had been cultivating right under their noses, the achievement had to be his own doing. He told the registrar to add Wang Li's name to the list of students who had passed the assessment. That meant Wang Li would go with the 6th-year students, under their teacher's guidance, to the hunting soul forest to hunt spirit beasts. Then Director Su addressed the class solemnly. "It is regrettable that, even including Wang Li, we only have 13 students who have reached level 10 spirit power. Those who have not reached level 10 may notify their parents to come to the academy and complete withdrawal procedures within the next 2 months. To those who have reached level 10, if your parents think they are capable of helping you hunt spirit beasts, the academy will not stop you. If not, and you wish to hunt spirit beasts under teacher guidance, you must follow the arrangements. After class today, prepare your bags and bring sufficient dry food and water. If you can, bring armor and weapons." Even in the domesticated hunting soul forest, the spirit beasts are fierce. I believe your teachers have explained this already, so I won't repeat it all. We leave in 2 days. This is a necessary step on the path to becoming a spirit master, so do not harbor any wishful thinking. His words provoked a mixture of joy and sorrow in the classroom. The joyful were those who'd hit level 10. The sorrowful were those who hadn't. After class, Wang Sheng threw an arm around Wang Li's shoulders and poured out envy, jealousy, and a fierce undertone of anger. "How did your blue-silver spirit grow so fast? How long has it been? You've already reached level 10. Wang Li chuckled. I have mutated blue-silver grass. It's different from ordinary blue-silver grass. It probably just grows faster. Wang Sheng only grew more frantic. As Wang Li's roommate, he was glad for him, but Wang Li's speed far outstripped his own. In 8 months, Wang Sheng had climbed from level 9 to 10. Wang Li had surged from level 3 to 10. It felt ridiculous. He tried to console himself. Blue-silver grass was still blue-silver grass, however mutated. It was a notoriously useless spirit. Once he had a spirit ring, his war tiger spirit would surely be stronger than Wang Li's. For now, other grades were still in class, and the cafeteria wasn't open, so the two returned to their dorm. Wang Li took out his money pouch. I want to go off campus to buy the things the teachers mentioned. Want to come? Wang Sheng's eyes lit up. This was no time to be thrifty. I'm coming. Wait for me. He produced his own hidden savings. His family wasn't rich, but his parents had given him some money before he left home. It was time to use it. They left the school and went straight to the blacksmith. Time was short, so they looked at finished weapons rather than commissioning new ones. Large spears and greatswords were out of the question, both impractical and too expensive. They could only afford short daggers for self-defense and hunting in the hunting soul forest. A burly middle-aged smith in a leather apron came over. Seeing the boys in Notting Academy uniforms, he brightened with envy and greeted them. 2 young lads looking at daggers? These are top grade. In fact, some of these were forged by students from your academy. Wang Sheng's voice rose. We know them. Tang San, he's our roommate. Wang Li's eyes flashed. Tang San's character aside, his craftsmanship was truly good. He said to the smith, We're going to the hunting soul forest. The weapons can't have any flaws. Pick 2 excellent daggers for us and give us a discount. At the mention of hunting spirit beasts, the smith became respectful. Reputation mattered. He selected 2 short sword-like daggers and handed them over. These are the best. Normally, one would cost over 12 silver coins. Since you really need them, you can have one for 7 silver. Wang Li hefted the dagger. It was solid and heavy enough to be worth the price. All right, we'll take them. Wang Sheng liked his immediately, too. The cost stung, but he gritted his teeth and paid. Life mattered more than money. They didn't bother with armor. Useful sets were unaffordable, and crude ones were worse than none. They each bought a water skin that held 3 caddies and some dried meat for energy. They skipped bulk dry rations for now. They could prepare those just before departure. 2 days later, fully prepared, Wang Li met at the training ground with the other 12 students who had reached level 10. Soon the lead teachers arrived. Dean Zhang Wei, Director Su Mo, and 6 other instructors, 8 teachers in all. Dean Zhang Wei was a little corpulent from enjoying ease in life, but his strength as a 4-ring spirit ancestor made him the strongest on the team. He raised his voice and proclaimed, Depart, Hunting Soul Forest. 17. Enter the forest. The Hunting Soul Forest was too far to go on foot. Nuoding City lay 400 li from its border. Notting Academy sent graduating classes there every year to hunt spirit beasts, so they were well prepared. 4 luxurious carriages bearing the Academy's insignia rolled out of the gates. One carried the dean and director, one carried 6 teachers, and the other 2 carried 13 students, including Wang Li. On the busy streets, the carriages drew deference. Passers-by stepped aside and watched with reverent eyes. Even the city gate soldiers let them through without fuss. Inside the carriage, the spirit scholars, most of them at spirit power level 10, chattered excitedly about what kind of spirit beast they might meet, what spirit rings they might earn, and what sort of spirit master they could become. Wang Li stayed silent. He didn't know the older students well. The only familiar face was his roommate, Wang Sheng. Closing his eyes, he thought inwardly, what kind of spirit beast should I hunt? Tang San's path is impressive, but I can't expect the Academy to help me catch a 400-year-old Datura snake. Blue-silver grass isn't spectacular offensively or defensively. Right now, a control build suits me. If I can find a vine-type spirit beast, it might help the blue-silver grass's extensibility and toughness. Both being plants would make absorption easier. The older the beast, the better. But that's luck. He couldn't help hoping for good luck. A vine spirit beast of the right age and type. The Hunting Soul Forest was artificially cultivated, so it didn't hold the variety of the wild, and under the army's guard and the enforcement patrols, extremely vicious or 10,000-year beasts rarely appeared. The students would likely stay in the forest until everyone had claimed a spirit ring. The academy had reserved 2 months for that purpose. The dean and director had even come personally, showing how much weight the academy placed on the 6th-year graduates. After all, these were spirit scholars without spirit rings, fragile and unable to put up much resistance against a powerful spirit beast. They arrived at the hunting soul forest at noon the next day, after a day and a night of travel. Outside the forest, a lively market bustled with stalls and shouting vendors. Spirit masters who were seldom seen back in the city were openly recruiting partners. The nodding academy carriages drew many curious eyes. With spirit ancestor Zhang Wei in charge of the school, everyone wanted to curry favor. The academy, however, traveled with a full team of teachers and refused outside joiners. They left the carriages and coachmen at an inn, had lunch, rested briefly, and then Zhang Wei and Sumo led the teachers and students to the forest entrance. A 10-meter-high fine iron fence circled the hunting soul forest. The gate itself stood open, but at least 100 fully armed soldiers kept watch. This was not a place to trespass. The soldiers' real power came from the backing of the Heaven Dew Empire and the Spirit Hall. Ownership was ambiguous, but any third party who tried to seize the forest would face joint suppression. Zhang Wei's rank as a spirit ancestor earned him the soldiers' respect. After checking their passes, they were allowed in. Less than 100 meters inside, Zhang Wei halted and addressed the students gravely, his presence stern but composed. Listen carefully. You've truly entered the hunting soul forest now. It's full of danger. Powerful spirit beasts can appear at any time. Follow orders. If you see or hear anything, don't panic, don't run. Report everything. If you leave the group without permission, you'll bear the consequences. The students stiffened at the dean's tone and answered in unison, "Yes!" Zhang Wei nodded, then turned to the teachers. "Take up formation and be ready." "Yes," the teachers replied. Spirit possession began. Sumo's body swelled, deer antlers sprouted from his head and thick fur covered him. 3 spirit rings, 2 yellow and a purple, glowed into place. He took the rear. A female teacher, Fiona, produced a staff and manifested 2 yellow rings. A support spirit master, she stood in the center of the group. Goan's teeth and nails lengthened, fur sprouted. He resembled a werewolf, though his spirit was canine. He bore 1 white and 1 yellow ring, sniffed the air, then darted ahead. The other 4 teachers assumed forms tied to a broadsword, a dagger, a black panther, and an ape. Each sported the common configuration of 1 white and 1 yellow ring and arranged themselves around the students. Zhang Wei did not call his spirit. He stood at the front, confident in his own power. He raised a hand and commanded solemnly, "Move out." Led by Zhang Wei, the Nodding Academy group began to explore. They kept to the forest's periphery rather than pushing deep inside. Students without spirit rings were too vulnerable. The teachers needed to remain in spirit possession and on constant alert. Deeper regions could hide 100-year or even 1,000-year spirit beasts. The teachers weren't afraid of a 100-year beast and could withdraw safely from a 1,000-year one, but the students could easily suffer casualties. Small losses among graduates happened each year, but heavy casualties would damage the academy's reputation. So an unwritten rule guided their hunts. Unless a student paid extra or had powerful backing, they were assigned beasts from the outer areas, generally 10-year spirit beasts. Occasionally, a 100-year beast appeared on the outskirts, and capturing one was a blessing. A 100-year spirit ring was a rare prize, something even Xiao Chenyu, the city lord's son, had not necessarily obtained. The academy aimed to give every student the best possible chance to secure a suitable spirit ring while keeping risks manageable. 18. Mountain Boar King. Many of the teachers had their spirits manifested, and the glinting spirit rings of different colors made the spirit scholar students both envious and reassured. Such a display could not be seen at the academy. It only happened out here in the perilous hunting soul forest. Wang Li stood among the students, heart racing. He wanted nothing more than to break away from the group and find a spirit beast of his own. But hunting and absorbing a spirit ring carried too many dangers and uncertainties for him to risk going alone. so he forced himself to move with the main party. All of them had spirit power. Even without spirit rings, their bodies were above average. They marched through the forest without complaint, so their pace was steady. At the front, Goan halted. Jiang Wei waved, signaling the line to stop. Gao and activated a spirit ability from his white spirit ring and inhaled deeply. Within several hundred meters, he could pick out scents and their owners. "Dean," he said in a low, rapid voice, "there's the scent of blood, soft bones rabbit." The hunter was a forest mantis. I can't tell its exact age, but it's roughly 300 meters ahead. Jiang Wei considered for a moment, then said, "Sumo, take care of the students. I'll go handle the forest mantis." At the back of the group, Director Sumo responded immediately, "Yes, Dean." Jiang Wei nodded and murmured, "Spirit, manifest." Yellow chi spilled from his body and gathered in his hands until it shaped into an ancient great bow. 4 spirit rings, yellow, yellow, purple, purple, floated around him. As a spirit ancestor who had founded a spirit master academy, Jiang Wei had an optimal configuration of spirit rings. The ring's glow gave him an imposing air. Despite being middle-aged and a little stout, he seemed tall and formidable. He pushed off the ground and was gone in a flash, dozens of meters away in the blink of an eye. With the dean gone, Director Sumo addressed the students. "Keep moving. Don't follow too close to the dean. Stay alert and maintain a steady pace." "Understood," the teachers and students replied together, then continued on. They caught up to Jiang Wei shortly. He had subdued a half-meter-long green mantis. Its scythe-like forelegs had been removed and discarded to the side. Its patterned green carapace was lacerated, and its blood-red eyes were full of hatred. Jiang Wei didn't waste time. "This is a forest mantis between 50 and 80 years old," he said. "Its blades are exceptionally sharp. Forest mantises are notoriously fierce among low-level spirit beasts. Sheng Kai, your spirit is a blade. This beast suits you. Come, finish it and absorb its spirit ring." Sheng Kai glanced at the mantis, swallowing hard. He was frightened, but he had come this far and would not retreat. He summoned his spirit, a blade, and stepped forward, hacking wildly at the creature. He swung with his eyes shut and missed the vital spot at first, and only after several strikes did he finally kill it. Jiang Wei watched without flinching. The students were still naive. To absorb a spirit ring, they had to kill the spirit beast themselves. It was part of their training. "Watch closely," he instructed. "The spirit ring will appear soon. When it does, sit cross-legged, call it with your spirit, and circulate your meditation technique to fully absorb its power. And all of you will go through this. Hunting spirit beasts and absorbing spirit rings will accompany you throughout your spirit master journey." White chi rose from the dead mantis and condensed into a white spirit ring above the corpse. Sheng Kai's fear vanished. He sat down cross-legged, extended his right hand and the spirit blade, and called the ring. It floated onto the blade and merged, beginning the absorption. The students looked on with envy and longing, but Wang Li grew impatient. This group's teachers, led by Jiang Wei and Sumo, were capable and thorough, but the spirit beast they'd provided for the students was only a 10-year creature with a white ring. That felt perfunctory. Wang Li had hoped to land at least a 100-year spirit ring, even if he couldn't exceed the limit on rings he could absorb. He frowned. This was frustrating. 10 minutes later, Sheng Kai had completed his absorption. A 10-year ring posed little danger. Jiang Wei eyed the student's elated face and warned sternly, "Don't get cocky. Even with a spirit ring and new spirit abilities, you must follow orders. A one-ring spirit master is still at the bottom level in the hunting soul forest. How do you feel? What spirit ability did you gain?" Sheng Kai answered meekly, "I feel great. My whole body is full of power. The spirit ability is cross-slash. It increases attack and attack speed by 10%. "That's a powerful ability," Jiang Wei said. "Return to the team. We'll continue soon." Just then Goan came back, breathless and anxious. "Dean, I scouted ahead and found a very strong, foul scent. It's a mountain boar king. Its age won't be low. Likely a 100-year spirit beast, northwest, about 800 meters away." Jiang Wei's expression turned serious. A 100-year spirit beast could not be taken lightly. He wasn't afraid for himself, but with so many spirit scholar students around, he had to be careful. "I'll go take a look. Everyone follow cautiously. Don't get too close," he ordered, then flashed off. Not long after, he reached what Goan had reported. The mountain boar king was enormous, nearly 4 meters long and almost 2 meters tall. Its body was armored with crusted mud and rock. Its tusks were razor-sharp and its aura savage. Jiang Wei's eyes widened. "How is this possible?" he muttered. "A beast like this on the forest's edge. By its size, it's at least 700 or 800 years old. An existence even thousand-year spirit beasts would think twice about confronting." The boar was tangled in thick vines, but its raw strength made the vegetation useless. It tore and stamped so violently that broken vine branches littered the ground, the scene a tableau of devastation. 19. Centennial Ivy, Roar. The mountain boar king's bellow shook the forest. Even seasoned spirit beasts, bears and tigers, would think twice before tangling with it unless they far outclassed it in cultivation. Now its massive body was wrapped in vines, but they seemed to have no hold over it. It drove its sharp tusks into a tree that would take 2 or 3 people to embrace. Wound around that trunk was the main mass of the vines, a 100-year green vine, as thick as a bowl. Against the mountain boar king, however, it was like a fragile girl facing a brutal strongman, unable to break free, constantly tearing and weeping sap. About 50 meters away, Jiang Wei watched, frowning. He muttered to himself, puzzled. Green vine was one of the milder plant spirit beasts. Normally, it coexisted with the tree it wrapped and didn't go picking fights. The mountain boar king was aggressive and invasive, but it didn't eat green vine, so why were they fighting, and out here in the outer hunting soul forest? Then a possibility hit him. Perhaps the boar wasn't after the vine at all, but something inside the vine's territory. If so, that something would be too valuable to let the boar ruin. Jiang Wei's eyes brightened with desire. He snapped out of hiding, drawing his large bow and dashing forward in a blur. He closed to 10 meters and leapt. 2 purple spirit rings flashed on his arm as he unleashed his 3rd and 4th spirit abilities, both 1,000-year techniques. Blood-colored flames engulfed his body, and the sudden surge of spirit power startled the 2 struggling beasts, but it was too late. Jiang Wei drew an arrow formed entirely of condensed spirit power, its shaft blazing. With a shout, he loosed it. It cut the air with a fiery tail and struck the boar's flank. The flames erupted, consuming everything nearby. The mountain boar king's wail was a tragic thing. Even that hide, thick as armor, couldn't withstand the combined force of Jiang Wei's 1,000-year abilities. The blast severely wounded it. Dragging a singed, burning flank, it limped off. Its stench oddly turned into the faint scent of cooked meat. Had it lingered longer, it would have died. Jiang Wei dropped to the ground, breathing hard. Using 2 of his strongest 1,000-year spirit abilities back-to-back took a toll. He wasn't as young as he once had been. He didn't pursue. Instead, he went to the green vine. It was half dead, shriveled and struggling, saved only by the greater resilience of plant spirit beasts. Jiang Wei fanned away the residual energy from the explosion with a sweep of spirit power and began digging at the tree's base. He worked quickly, uncovering 3 dark, lumpy objects among the roots. A grin spread across his face that was more roguish than Dean-like. "Summer truffles," he murmured, delighted. This was exactly what the mountain boar king had been after, truffles that strengthened a boar's scent to attract mates. For men, they had other effects too, consolidating essence, replenishing blood, improving endurance, true miracles for middle-aged cultivators. As dean of Notting Academy, Jiang Wei had status and wealth, and he did not pretend to be above indulgence. In a place like the hunting soul forest, one could hardly expect to pass up a windfall. He put the truffles into his spirit tool. Not long after, the teachers and students of Notting Academy, drawn by the noise, arrived on the scene. The scorched earth, shattered ravine, and singed trees testified to the brawl they had missed, and many of them marveled at Jiang Wei's power. Jiang Wei restored his usual dignified air and explained, "There was a fight between the mountain boar king and a green vine. I drove the boar off. The vine's root is here. It can't escape." He glanced at the academy roster. "Wang Li, your spirit is mutated blue-silver grass, right? A plant spirit that absorbs plant spirit rings. This 100-year green vine belongs to you." Fortune had fallen into Wang Li's lap. He had been worrying about how to obtain a 100-year spirit ring. Now one had literally appeared. Teachers and sixth-grade graduates looked on with envy, jealousy, and in some cases, thinly veiled resentment. A first spirit ring of 100 years promised a boundless future. Wang Li didn't hesitate. He stepped forward, bowed to the dean, and drew the short sword he had bought at the blacksmith. He located the vine's root, stabbed in, twisted, and severed it clean. The vine writhed for a moment longer before going still. A yellow stream of spirit breath surged up and condensed into a spirit ring. It was a true 100-year ring, not a cheap 10-year imitation. Wang Li's heart leapt. He sat cross-legged, summoned his blue silvergrass spirit, and then the yellow ring. As if recognizing its master, the ring flew to Wang Li and merged with his blue silvergrass. The vast spirit power flowed into him. This was the perfect match, a century-old vine spirit for his mutated blue silvergrass. Wang Li drew on the meditation method he had acquired from the system panel and began to circulate it. His spirit power rose up like a dragon, devouring the ring's energy. The 100-year spirit power did not overwhelm him. The meditation method suppressed it thoroughly. It was clearly a top-tier method. Zhang Wei, meanwhile, was pleased with his own luck. 3 summer truffles, truly hitting the jackpot. Both he and Wang Li had scored big, and it was hard to say who had gained more from the morning's chaos. 20. The first soul skill, growth. The azure vine was, by nature, a meek spirit beast, an ordinary one. Its greatest strengths were its vigorous life force and its minimal demands for a habitat. With soil, water, and sunlight, it could take root, grow quickly, and climb a tall tree to wrap itself around and live in symbiosis. It was uncompetitive and peaceful. If a spirit beast or spirit master passed by, it would not attack. Unless someone knew to look for it, it was easy to ignore. This particular azure vine was not young. It had quietly grown on the forest's edge for many years, until today, when it ran into a mountain boar king that had come charging out from the forest core. The boar's thick hide and enormous strength rendered the vine's binding ineffective. In the end, the azure vine, confused and overwhelmed, became Wang Li's first spirit ring. Inside Wang Li, the azure vine's spirit power was abundant but gentle. Wang Li's own spirit power, though smaller in amount, was more forceful. With his trained body to back him up, the process of subduing and integrating the vine went smoothly. His consciousness sank inward until it settled in his dantian. In that inner lake of spirit power, a blue-silver grass was drawing from the lake and thriving. Besides spirit power, something else seemed present. This is introspection. This is the dantian. This is my spirit. This is my source of power. A flash of astonishment went through Wang Li. He watched the blue-silver grass closely. Its roots were thick, its leaves lush. Where it had once been only 2 fingers wide, under 3 at most, it had grown to 5 fingers across and taken on more of a vining form, surely from absorbing the azure vine's spirit ring. He remembered seeing Tong San's blue-silver grass. It had been thin, less than half a finger before, and only reached 3 fingers after absorbing a spirit ring. His evolved level 2 blue-silver grass was clearly far superior to an ordinary, unawakened blue-silver grass. Wang Li didn't know how long he remained inside his own head. When he had absorbed all the spirit power from the spirit ring and the power stored throughout his body that had been released during the process, he came back to himself. He felt better than ever. He stood, stretched, and his body popped and realigned. He had grown taller, now almost as tall as Wang Sheng. His shoulders were broader, his posture straight. He no longer looked like a commoner child. Most importantly, his eyes were bright and lively. Eyes are windows of vitality, and he now looked full of youthful vigor and high spirits. The first thing he did was check his panel. Host Blue Silver Grass Level 2. Spirit Power Level 13 4%. Trait Vitality Level 2. The blue silver grass that spreads across the continent may be weak, but it has strong vitality and slowly recovers from injuries. Passive Resilience Level 2. Whatever does not kill me makes me stronger. When recovering from any abnormal status, provided I do not die, my constitution will increase. First Spirit Ring, equipped. Combat experience. Seeing the panel, Wang Li noticed at a glance that his spirit power had already reached level 13. He felt a surge of excitement, but what he most wanted to know was something else. He tapped the word evolving under spirit. A new interface opened. ELV2 of 3 Origin of Life, 520. Wang Li considered this carefully. Absorbing a spirit ring increased the Origin of Life points, which meant he could evolve his spirit by taking on spirit rings. But absorbing a century-old spirit ring had only given him 5 points. If he guessed boldly, he wouldn't be able to start the next evolution until he reached Spirit Power level 30 and absorbed a 1,000-year spirit ring. For a level 13 soul user like him, that was far off. Still, he had a panel that showed the requirements, and that made the path feel attainable. Confidence returned. He went back and clicked on his first spirit ring. The panel displayed it. Spirit ability, growth. Release spirit power to instantly stimulate the growth of a large number of blue-silver vines that can be controlled at will. Source: Azure Vine, a common forest plant spirit beast capable of symbiosis with other plants. Age 4. Growth. Not binding. Wang Li's mind leapt. Controlled at will. That meant he could use the vines for whipping and entangling. Hunting that Azure Vine had been far from a loss. A 404-year-old spirit ring was already respectable. In age, it rivaled Tang San's Datura snake ring, and the panel even showed plus it could be upgraded. Wang Li stared, stunned. His panel could increase the age of his spirit rings. What did that mean? If he cultivated up to be a titled Douluo, he could have 9 spirit rings of 10,000 years, or even rings of 100,000 years. Million-year spirit rings, divine beasts, might even be possible. If he truly acquired million-year spirit rings, his physical body might ascend to something godlike. Not an inherited godhood or one born of faith, but a godhood achieved through the body itself, free and unfettered. Calm down, he kept telling himself. He was still just a small-scale spirit master with level 13 spirit power. There was no need for grand fantasies. Still, the excitement on his face was unmistakable. Just then, Dean Jiang walked over, smiling. He was not surprised to see Wang Li's excitement and said, "It took you 2 hours to absorb the spirit ring. You must have gained a lot." Wang Li closed his panel and answered happily, "Yes, thank you, Dean." Dean Jiang already knew Wang Li's abilities. Apart from Tong San and Xiao Wu, Wang Li was the only student in their grade who had reached level 10 spirit power in first grade. He had excellent talent, even if his spirit had been underwhelming. Curious, Dean Jiang asked, "What soul skill did you get?" Wang Li smiled earnestly and lied. "Binding. The more objects you bind, the more spirit power it uses. Normally, the consumption is fairly low." Dean Jiang had helped Wang Li acquire the century-old spirit ring, so Wang Li felt grateful. Dean Jiang was also friends with Yu Xiaogang, and Wang Li didn't want Yu Xiaogang to know the truth about his skill. Hearing binding, Dean Jiang nodded and said, "That's a very useful skill. Get back to the team. It's getting late. We should find a place to camp." "I understand, Dean," Wang Li replied.